Welcome back, everyone. We are back with another game from our round number 4, and we have an amazing player coming up for you. I don't know if you've heard of him. If you followed the Japanese tournaments, then you might have well, because it's Shimada Daichi from Japan, and he has won two Champions Leagues in recent years, which are like tournaments with over 1,000 players in a similar format than ours. So Shimada, definitely a player that's very accustomed to this format. And yeah, I'm excited to have him here. He is going in with a 3-0 record currently, so he's already in a pretty good position. And yeah, I'm excited to see how well he will do here. Um, he is bringing a Zacian deck with Macario and I believe Cinccino as well, so quite the interesting approach to it. And here I'm joined by Jasper once again to bring you this round.
Thank you so much for finally introducing it, Philip. Yeah, like Shimada's playing a really interesting deck here, the Lucario Minimalization deck. Or is it straight Macario?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he plays Zacian as well. I will
Yeah,
check up his
he
deck list.
must. But it's really interesting. Shimada has done extremely well in these Japanese-style Champions League tournaments because, as you say, these tournaments of 1,000+ players are in there, and winning a Champions League is like the size of any IC, so massive accomplishments under Shimada's belt. And you see he's playing against Pika Rom here, and
Yep,
we're gonna perhaps
Gabri
be introduced to some newer cards here.
Gabriele Filieri from Italy with Pika, and yeah, we've seen this deck already in action in an earlier round when Jens Mikinen
And
was.
it's gold. I
Yeah,
think his Pika deck is solid gold.
yeah. And wow, yeah, the full blink, even on PTCGO, going for the
Oh,
flex. And
it
yeah,
doesn't even. His quick balls has to be hollow though. But nevertheless, he's off to a really strong start. Already getting those lightning energies
yeah,
discarded, getting attachment onto Pika, and
wow,
we're
and
likely gonna see this full blitz here.
yep, and since he's using his Coco already, that tells me that he probably has a switch in his hand as well. And yep, so
Yep.
he switch, and then he will go for like the Deno or research, and that's an amazing start. Now he just needs an energy switch or the Thunder Mount to get off the turn 1 full blitz. And yeah, that would of course be great for him.
Yeah, and already getting to turn one full blitz. The first time I've commentated Pika today. It feels amazing to see here, and let's see how can Shimada follow up here? He
Uh,
doesn't get it. He
yeah,
misses the energy switch.
I was about to say he didn't slap it down, so he probably whiffed, and that's what he does. Just retreating into the Tapu Koko V because of course that has free retreat, and he doesn't really care if it gets hit by this Macario. And yeah, I think Shimada's deck is one of those decks that is better equipped to deal with something like a turn 1 full blitz, because he has his full Metal Wall GX of course, so he can use that to slow down his opponent quite a bit. And then he plays multiple Malolanas, metal frying pans, metal goggles, etc., etc. So he has quite a lot of tools to slow down the pace of the game and to stop a Pikachu Zekrom that even that turn 1 full blitz is in it. Yeah, from running over his deck. But
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. And this Lucario Melmetal deck is really one of my favorite decks here because the Lucario Melmetal is so tanky. The 260 HP instantly turns into 290 HP when he uses the full metal wall, plus whatever he could put off of frying pans and Maolana and healing. So
yep,
it's a really nice deck to watch, and it really puts your opponent's math off,
yep.
especially playing against Pika, which doesn't have the highest power level.
Yeah, now with the Bolton V, of course, the damage output has gotten more consistently high, I believe. But of course, Shimada's deck, having this full metal wall, setting your opponent back in attachment, might be pretty good at keeping Bolton, yeah, at low impact and preventing it from hitting really high numbers. However, one thing that's yeah, really hurting Shimada here is that he's whiffed Zacian for the second turn in a row. He's only playing 3 quick balls, so that might be why. That might be what's hurting him here, and of course that's not great. His deck does want to fall behind a bit and take it slow in the early game, but being able to fall behind while building a huge amount of cards in his hand with Zacian V is what he usually would want to do, and not being able to do so is of course not
Yeah, we haven't
optimal.
seen the station out from Shimada yet, but we do see the Tool Scrapper being ready to be used here.
Yep.
Displaying the old style Tool Scrappers, I like that.
And yeah, Shimada debating on whether or not he wants to attach his energy here. Usually you don't want to, because with Lucario Metal, just attacking for 30 is all it needs to do, and it's better to like conserve your energies on the Zacians. But I believe Shimada here sees that he will probably have to discard a lot of energies with his professor's research, so he's debating on attaching to his active, because otherwise he's losing a lot of energy.
Yeah, and we shouldn't forget that these Pika decks, they have resistance. Most of the Lightning Pokemon has resistance versus these Metal Pokemon that Shimada is playing, and it's actually a nice attachment there from Shimada, seeing that he did not hit any energies whatsoever on this Professor's Research, and he has to wait for next turn to get another attachment in place.
Yep.
Also, drawing a Metal Saucer, which kind of makes it a bit easier for him to get attachments on.
Yeah, the Metal Saucer and finally finding the Station, of course, is pretty nice. The Station, of course, is his attack of choice. You basically want to use like Full Metal War once and maybe use Steel Fist to poke tag teams, because yeah, Steel Fist plus Station is quite the decent math. It's it's the perfect numbers to take a 2-shot on Pikachu Zekrom. But yeah, usually you just want to use as much Station as possible. Especially since Shimada has already given up one prize with that Jirachi. So if his opponent is able to take a knockout on this Lucario Melmetal and later on a Zacian, that will be exactly what he needs to win the game. So yeah, Shimada probably wants to start attacking with Zacian soon, now that he used Full Metal.
Exactly, and it does seem a bit hard for him here, because this Raichu is actually a really, really big threat to Shimada and what he's trying to do here, because with enough Electro Powers, this Raichu can one-shot this little Caramel in the active, and it also has the capabilities of course, one-shotting Station, though it requires Electro Powers, and it requires 5 energies.
Yep. And yeah,
getting
the energy off of a Pikachu Zekrom is pretty nice, though, because that somewhat prevents more full blitzes, and it makes it so that it will be way harder to accelerate a lot of energies, and that means that Shimada might be able to take out this Raichu and the Lowland Raichu and take off all the threats that his opponent has. And it can also mean that the Bolton V won't do a lot of damage, since now Gabriele is forced to not attack with Pikachu Zekrom anymore, and so he won't accelerate a lot of energies anytime soon.
Yeah, and also, of course, he needs to find some way of retreating, whether to switch or Maolan in this case, to actually get this Lucario Melmetal back because of the paralyzation that's going on here. But he can get the Maolan out here and likely discard Lucario Melmetal plus another card if he wants to.
Yep.
But the problem here is just going to be to retreat back into Lucario Melmetal if he actually even wants to attack with it.
Yeah, I guess he does want to attack with it. He has the Metal Saucer, so he can power it up and hit for 130, which is enough to take the 2-shot on the Raichu. Just somewhat unfortunate hand for Shimada here, because he doesn't have an energy and he doesn't have a retreat option for the Jirachi as of now, so he has to pick up Scoop Up Net or switch with his Jirachi, and he's losing manual attachments, and that always hurts in this deck.
Yeah, and does Shimada have any retreat options? We know he has to Scoop Up Net and switch on a Stellar Wish, but does he have anything else to follow up with it?
And he's eyeing up a power plant here. Interesting choice. Might just want to sacrifice the Jirachi and take some time to set up more instead. Which is also understandable. Means that he can use Station and use an Interpret Sword, set himself up a bit more. And yeah, this way he also doesn't have to commit more energies to his Malcario. But not a great Interpret Sword at all.
No, he really... he really did want to hit an energy on the Ninja Bread Sword. That was really important at that point, but of course he does not at this point. And Gabriele hitting that counter stadium straight away, so his retreat options get unblocked again, and he's bound to be able to retreat again. And also, because the Leisner lapse is gone, his Big Charm works. So it's going to be even harder for Shimada to take these knockouts, and he's going to go for Great Catcher straight away. Are we going to see a knockout on Le Caramel Metal here with the GX attack here?
Yeah, there's the Electro Power, so that will be the knockout, taking advantage of Shimada not being able to find any of his damage-reducing tools anytime soon. But of course, having used this GX attack now also means that from this point on, it will be way harder for him to find to find the knockouts, because as you mentioned earlier, Pikachu Zekrom doesn't kind of caps at relatively low damage. You can only do like 160 max, and with Full Metal Wall reducing that, and then Metal Frying Pan or Metal Goggles reducing that even further. That means that you're losing out. You're not doing a lot of damage, especially when your opponent has access to Malolana and this Mewtwo to recover them. So
yeah, exactly, and we're going to see what Shimada can do here, because it looks like a very, very hard spot for Shimada. Gabriele being so far ahead, but we also see the reset stamp in Shimada's hand, so we might be able to see some comebacks here, but Gabriele has such a strong board still. 6 energies on board, 4 of them being on Raichu, and it's just amazing to see right now if Shimada can even get back from this really upsetting start from Gabriele.
I think it's pretty much fine if he's able to find a switch, if he's able to find the attack with Station here, because now stabbing his opponent to 2 is already, of course, strong, especially if there's no Jirachi on board, and having sent up the Tapu Koko V here is also kind of interesting, because if Shimada's able to take the knockout here, there's no free retreater anymore for Gabriele on the board, and so he will not be able to use Tandem Shock for its full effect for the moment.
Yeah, so it's an interesting spot here. Maybe throwing up something like, I don't know, really, like even the Dene or Aura.
Yeah, exactly. Just sacrificing the Dene maybe would have been better. The Tapu Koko V being a safe retreater after knockout seems kind of valuable. Also, with attack switch, it can take a knockout on. It can deal quite a lot of damage to Zacian. And after having used his GX attack, it's basically Gabriel's best attacker. But we know that Shimada now has the knockout in hand, and he also has follow-up for the next turn. So he can follow it up with Malolana next turn. So that's quite a decent spot, I'd say. Also, he finally gets attack of Zacian. So if Gabriel's not able to draw out of this soon, then he might end up in a pretty rough spot on his own, even though Shimada stumbled quite a lot in the early game.
Yeah, Shimada stumbled massively, but you see, he has the Metal Saucer, he has the Switch, even has the Scoop Up Net, so this knockout definitely is within reach, and then Gabriele doesn't have a free retreater. And without a free retreater and having a 2-card hand after reset stamp, that's...
Wait, Shimada, wait a second. You have to play the Saucer first.
Play the Saucer, please.
Before using Scoop Up Net.
Wait, if you play Scoop Up Net, then sees it, then they can put back up another Pokemon that isn't Sensation with 2 energies, and of course Saucer, and waste the Switch. But of course he wants the Saucer first. There's no reason not to.
Yeah, with this kind of deck, I like this kind of deck, but the amount of switching cards can be quite painful with this. And it looks like he is opting to just send up his Avatization and probably wants to go for an Interpret Sword here, I guess. So it seems like,
very interesting. You're trying to bait out a Raichu attacking here so he can go back into station and try and get a hit on it.
Yeah.
And then afterwards he can perhaps boss orders into it.
Yeah, so I guess...
Interesting pay from Shimada. Most people would have gone for a knockout here in Tapu Koko V. So would I.
Yeah, I feel like the knockout would have been pretty decent here, but I guess this play is also pretty good from him, valuing his gusting effects, knowing that he had to discard some boss's orders earlier on, and so instead he uses this to make Gabriele bring up his Raichu
Yeah, and he also
himself.
removes the option of in that case he removed the option of really just like Raichu going up and do too much here, but then the boss orders here really punishes Shimada. And what
Yeah,
does he do here? This is only fully powered attacker.
yeah, I feel like I mean, he definitely has to go for the Malolana here and heal up. But one big issue for him is that he's only playing one escape board and it's already in the discard pile, so he doesn't have a free retreater. And that means that he will have to use a lot of switching cards to even keep attacking here. And of course, he doesn't have an energy this turn once again. So, yeah,
But he does have metal saucers. And there is metal energies in discard piles, so that could be replacement of his energies.
yeah, and he definitely needs to power up his second station soon, so that he can just switch between stations and doesn't have to switch into Jirachi and then find another switching card all the time. Because
Exactly, and he would need to get this second station likely powered up for next turn. I think that's where the window starts to close on Shimada. But look at it, Shimada only has 8 cards left in deck. He's gone through a ton of stuff.
yeah, for sure.
And double saucer here. Getting these attachments onto these stations was just really important. Gonna put the Marnie on top. And he gets a third attachment, so station's fully powered up. And we see a Brave Blade heading onto this Raichu. Going for the 2-shot here.
And yeah, as you mentioned, the deck running dangerously low for Shimada here. He only has used a single switch, so he might be able to find his switches naturally without being forced to use supporters. But if he's forced to use this Marnie, he's gonna draw quite a lot. Like gonna draw 5 of his 9 cards afterwards, and then I don't think he has anything left that puts more cards back into his deck. So he will have to win the game in just 4 turns after that. In like 4 or 5 turns after that. So
Yeah, but I think likely the way that Shimada wants to go is winning within 3 turns. Which means that knocking out this Raichu first, then going into knocking out either Dedenne or Tapu Koko or Aura, and then afterwards knocking the last one out of those. Or 2-shotting the Pika. It's either or. That's likely his options. So therefore, I don't blame him if he plays Marnie at all, because he doesn't need more than 3 turns.
Yeah, he definitely needs to use the Marnie here. Otherwise, he's risking to lose soon. And no switch. He still has his Oranguru. It can save him here. So
Definitely needs to hit something of this Guru, because of course, Scuba Map does not work on these V Pokemon, and no, he whiffs, and I think that's game over for Shimada.
I mean, Gabriele still doesn't have a knockout, so he still needs Switch and Electro Power to take the game.
Yeah, he still needs either Switch, Electro Power, or he just needs to hit. He needs to hit a switching card first. It's not over yet, as you could say, but it does look really, really hard for Shimada here to get this in, because
yeah, especially since he's running that low on deck cuts now, he really would have liked to get this knockout here, just to get some more resources. And it seems like a couple of his switches are priced because he does play 4, and there's only 1 in his discard pile, I believe.
And he's gonna pass.
Yep.
Of course, using Interpret Sword wouldn't be that smart here, because that would also just lose him the game, so I guess passing's fine in that case. Where we see Electro Power. Attack Call. Guzmahala?
Oh, yeah, probably just to thin out his deck. So I guess we see a Professor's Research coming, maybe.
Or we could see Dedenne and then Guzmahala for Stadium.
Yeah, exactly. That was my second thought. Now that we see the Quick Ball, that's probably what he's gonna do. But actually, I wonder how many stadiums he plays, because Thunder Mountain and 1 Gala Mine are already gone.
I think his normal count for stadiums is 2. In some cases, you have 3. You never have more than 3 stadiums, at least.
Yeah, exactly. So, and yeah, Galamine and Thunder Mountain are gone, which are all the stadiums. But yeah, there we see the research. Finally, Gabriele able to draw out of this research stamp power plant combination from earlier on. Now it's on to find. Yeah, he has used an electro power already, so switch is all that's dividing him from that's separating him from the win here. Does play for switch. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how many are gone anymore, but we will see.
I think he used a couple. Gabriele did. In that case, we have to see what's gonna happen now. He's gonna play the speed lightning.
Able to dig some more. And there's the switch.
There's the switch.
Yep, so that's a retreat.
Yeah, that's retreat, and that's game right. He did play Electro Power in the beginning, so that is game over for Shimada, and congratulations to Gabriele Filieri for taking down this game. Likely. I don't know what he's doing here.
Well, I'm pretty sure he did play an Electro Power. We also see
me too. I don't know why they played Energy Switch there.
Yeah, just making sure.
Off guard.
Yeah, I guess just showing that he would have had some follow-up. And yeah, unfortunate prizes for Shimada here. I think he would have been in a pretty decent position if he would have been able to find a switch to take the knockout, and then he would have still had like a couple of, I think 2 switch and a Malolana left to close out the game. And he would have had boss's order as well, so quite a like he would have had all the resources he needs, I believe, to finish off the game. But yeah, unfortunately, wasn't able to find it.
No, definitely not. And speaking of this, like Shimada is still 3-1, so he still had the option of still making day 2.
Yeah, of course.
Just needs to win these 9 or 10 games through get into day 2, so not so far away.
Yeah, and I always like to see his deck. The Macarization variants are always so interesting because I just like the slower approach to the game where you drain your opponent's resources instead of going aggressive like most of the other decks.
Yeah, and you just sit there and you have a massive tank in the way of your opponent. And usually when I've been playing this deck, ADP players can't even take a prize on you because you just remove their energies to full metal wall before they get it going, and then you simply just drain them resources. You don't take them out usually.
Yep. Very interesting game for sure. I hope you guys enjoyed it. We will go to a quick break, but I believe the next round will be coming up relatively shortly, so stay tuned for that.
See you then.